Hello everyone, welcome to British Columbia, the language school. Today in this video, I will explain the first chapter of ISC class 12, Atithi, the guest, by Rabindranath Tagore from your book Prism. So without any delay, let's begin. So Atithi, which is the first chapter of ISC class 12, is written by Rabindranath Tagore, who was a prominent Indian writer. He wrote novels, poems, short stories, and many of his short stories were also filmed by different Indian directors and producers. So this story, Atithi, is taken from his short story collection, Golpagucho. Now let us begin with the box on page 123 because this box contains the summary of the story. The short story, the guest describes a free-spirited young lad Tarapada who refuses to be bound by any of the bonds of society. So this is the story of a young boy Tarapada who is described as a free spirit here. And this boy does not want to be bound by any of the social bonds. He glories in a life in the midst of nature, garnering new experiences and living life on his terms. He's a kind of boy who wants to learn new experiences in his life and he wants to enjoy life on his own terms. He's a skillful and adapt and makes friends easily. These are the qualities of the boy. The boy is skillful, adapt, very smart, and is very friendly. His path crosses that of Motilal Babu, a wealthy zamindar. So, on his way to explore the world, he meets Motilal Babu, who is a wealthy landlord. Here, the spelling is incorrect here, Motilal Babu. So, he meets that man. Motilal Babu takes an interest in the young boy, and his wife Annapurna looks after him like a son. Motilal Babu also get influenced by the boy because he was very friendly and very adept, and his wife Annapurna, she also take very good care of the boy just like her own son. Somehow Motilal Babu's daughter Charu starts disliking Tarapada, but Motilal Babu's daughter Charu Shashi, she doesn't like Tarapada, though he is loved by everyone, but she doesn't like him. Why? Where will the life take the young boy? So these are the two questions which we will find in the story. Where will the fate of the boy take him, and why does Charushashi dislike? Let us read the story and find out. Okay, now let us quickly begin the story. This whole story is divided into 6 parts. So we are going to begin with the first one. Motilal Babu, Zamidar of Kathalia, was returning home with his family by boat. One afternoon, he moored the boat near a riverside market so that their meal could be prepared. So the story starts with Motilal Babu, who is returning to his home with his family, and he tied up his boat near a riverside market. Why? To get his meal prepared, means he wanted to prepare his meal. A Brahmin boy came over and asked, "Where are you going, Babu?" The boy was not more than 15 or 16. So here, in the very first paragraph, we meet the protagonist, who is a Brahmin boy. We have to keep in mind, the boy is Brahmin, and he asked Motilal Babu where he was going. The age of the boy is not more than 15 or 16. Kathalia, replied Motilal Babu. So he tells him that he is going to Kathalia. Could you drop me at Nandigram on the way? So he is going to Nandigram. The Brahmin boy is going to Nandigram, and he asked him to give him a lift. Motilal consented. What's your name? He asked. Motilal agreed to drop him to Nandigram, and also he asked his name. Tarapada, said the boy. So the boy tells his name, Tarapada. The fair-skinned boy was beautiful to look at. His smile and his large eyes had the grace of youth. So this para tells about his physical appearance. The boy was fair-skinned, his smile and his large eyes had the grace of youth. His body, bare except for a stained dhoti, was free of any excess. The boy was wearing a stained dhoti, and his body was well built, as if nothing was excess in his body, or as if he was carved by a sculptor, or as if in his previous life the boy was young sage, and out of his pure religious devotion, all the coarseness of his body was removed, and he was owned into a gleaming Brahminical perfection, means he became a perfect Brahmin boy. Come and wash, Baba, said Motilal Babu tenderly. You can eat with us. Motilal Babu quickly got influenced with his physical appearance and the way he talked, and invited him to eat with them. Motilal's servant was Hindustani. He was not very good at cutting up fish. Tarapada took over and soon had the dish ready and had cooked some vegetables too with practiced skill. Motilal's servant was not a Bengali, so he did not know how to cut a fish. He was not good in that. So quickly Tarapada took over the task and he prepared the dish and he also cooked some vegetables as if he was very skilled in that art. He then took a dip in the river and opening his bundle produced a clean white garment and a small wooden comb. And after preparing meal, he took a bath in the river and then wore a white garment, clean white garment, and also took out his comb. He sleeked his long hair away from his forehead and down to his neck, adjusted his glistening sacred thread, and stepped onto the boat. And then he combed his hair and also adjusted his sacred thread because he was a Brahmin boy. He was wearing the thread, and then he went to the boat again. Motilal Babu invited him into the cabin. His wife and his 9-year-old daughter were there. And then Motilal Babu invited him into his cabin, where he met his wife and his 9-year-old daughter, Charu Shashi, about whom we have already known. His wife Annapurna was tenderly attracted to the boy when she saw him and wondered whose child is he, where has he come from, how could his mother bear to abandon him. So as soon as Annapurna saw the boy, she got attracted towards him, and there also came so many questions into her mind as who is this boy, where he had come from, and she also thought about his mother as to how she would be bearing the separation of this boy. She placed mats for Motilal and the boy to sit on side by side, and then she placed mats for both Motilal and the boy. The boy was not a big eater. Annapurna felt he must be shy and tried to get him to eat this or that, but when he had finished, he would not be tempted to more. As Tarapada did not eat too much because he was not a big eater, so the lady thought that he might be feeling shy, so she herself offered him some other dishes, but the boy was not tempted to anything else. He clearly did everything according to his own wishes. The boy did everything according to his own terms. He was not tempted to anything, but with such ease that there was nothing assertive about him. And even if he said no, that doesn't mean that he is going to hurt anyone. He was not so blunt. He was not at all shy, and he was also not a shy boy. When everyone had eaten, Annapurna set him next to her and asked him about his background. So after the meal was done, lady, as she was very curious to know about his background, she asked him some questions. She did not gather much. All she could establish was that the boy had run away from home of his own volition at the age of 7 or 8. So after so much investigation, Tarapada told her that he had left his house, he had escaped from his house on his own will. Own volition means he had willingly left his house when he was just 7 or 8 years old. Isn't your mother alive? Asked Annapurna. She is, said Tarapada. Doesn't she love you? Asked Annapurna. Tarapada seemed to find this question peculiar. Why shouldn't she love me? He said, laughing. Then why did you leave her? Said Annapurna. She has 4 more sons and 3 daughters, said Tarapada. Now, when Annapurna got to know that the boy had left his home at the age of 7 or 8, so she thought that his mother might not be alive. Then he said, no, she's alive. Now she further got surprised, and then she thought that she might not love him. At this question, Tarapada started laughing because it was quite a peculiar question for him. And the boy said that of course she loved him. Hearing this, Annapurna further asked when she is alive and she loved him, so why did he leave her? She has 4 more sons and 3 daughters, said Tarapada. Tarapada was young, so his life story was brief, but the boy was a complete original. There was nothing much to tell about this boy because when he left his house, he was so young. So at this age, there was not much to tell about him. But the boy was complete original, means he was an independent boy. He was his parents' 4th son and was still a baby when his father died. So Tarapada's father died when he was just an infant. Despite there being so many in the house, Tarapada was the darling of all. Mother, brothers, sisters and neighbors doted on him. So much so that this tutor never beat him. Everyone would have been appalled if he had. Though there were many other siblings in his family, Tarapada was the most loved child. Everyone loved him so much, even his neighbors. And this was the reason why his tutor never beat him, and if he ever got beaten, everyone got appalled, means everyone got shocked. There was no reason for him to leave. Half-starved boys who constantly stole fruit from trees and were thrashed by the owners of the trees, they never strayed from the village or their scolding mothers. There were other boys in the same village who were scolded by their mothers, and they were also beaten by the owners of the trees because of stealing. But these boys were half-starved, they were not well-fed, yet they never tried to escape their village. But this darling of everyone joined a touring Jatra troupe and left his village without a thought. But this boy, who was darling of everyone, who was loved by everyone, without any thought, he left his village without caring for anyone. Search parties went out and he was brought back. His mother pressed him to her breast and drenched him with tears. His sisters wept too. His elder brother tried to perform his duty as guardian, but he soon abandoned his feeble attempts at discipline and welcomed him back with open arms. So when the boy left his house, he was searched and finally he was brought back. His mother, to see him back again, she cried a lot and also she embraced him. Everyone in the house cried, her sisters, even her brothers who were trying to hide their feelings, they could also not do it, and welcomed with open arms. Women invited him to their houses, plied him with even greater displays of affection. Other women of the village, they also treated him now with more affection so that the boy should not run away. But he would not accept ties, even ties of love. His stars had made him a wanderer. If he saw strange boats on the river, or a sannyasi from a distant region under the local peepal tree, or if gypsies sat by the river making mats or wicker baskets, his heart would stir with longing to be free, to explore the outside world. But this boy was not ready to accept any ties of love. No affection could stop him from his curiosity to explore the outside world. As if his stars had made him a wanderer, he was consumed with wanderlust. Whenever he saw any boat on the river, or any sannyasi under a peepal tree, or any gypsies, any nomadic tribe making mats or bamboo baskets, he also wanted to do so, the same thing, and wanted to explore more about the outside world. And after he had run away 2 or 3 times, family and villagers gave up hope of him. So when the boy tried to run away from his home 2 or 3 more times, everyone in the village, even his family, they all abandoned the hope of searching for him. Again he joined a Jatra troupe at first, but when the master of the troupe began to treat him almost as a son, and the members of the troupe, young and old, had all fallen for him, and even people in the house where they performed, especially the women, began to make a special fuss of him. One day, without saying a word, he disappeared and could not be found. Now, after leaving his house and village, again he joined another Jatra troupe. And what happened here also, the master of the troupe treated him very affectionately, just like his own son, and other members of the troupe, whether they were young or old, especially the women, they showered so much love on him, and they all had so much affection with him. So what happened? When this bond of love started growing, one day the boy, without caring for anybody, without caring for their love, he did not tell anyone and disappeared, just as he had left his village and could not be found. Where he went, nobody knew. Tarapada was as wary of ties as a young fawn, and was also like a deer in his love of music. This boy did not accept any ties, and he was so cautious, just like a young fawn. And he had so much love for music, just like a deer. The songs of the Jatra were what had first lured him away from home. What was the thing that made him run away from his home for the first time? It was the music of the Jatra troupe. Melodies sent a trembling through his veins, and rhythms made his body swing. It was the tune of the songs that made him excited and trembling. And this was the reason he could not control himself, and then went with the music. Impelled by this passion for music, it was not long before he had joined a group of Panchali singers. So as first he left his village, then the Jatra troupe, and because he had a passion for music, it impelled him, it forced him not to stay in one place for long, because he was again attracted towards Panchali singers. The leader of the group carefully taught him songs and trained him to recite Panchali by heart. So what happened? He went to this group, the group of singers who sang Panchali song, and the leader of the group, he also got influenced by him, very much attracted, and carefully he started teaching him Panchali songs. He too began to love him as his own. Everybody, because he was so friendly, so loving a boy, that this leader of this group also treated him just as his own son. Like a pet caged bird, Tarapada learned a few songs and then one morning flew away. So after joining this group, here he learned some songs, but he felt as if he was caged. And what happened? After learning the songs, without informing anyone, he flew away like the bird. So till here we got to know that Tarapada was a kind of boy who could not be tied up in one place for long. And therefore the story is named Atithi, because one can never predict how long the guest will stay in one place and when will they go. Tarapada was just like a guest. So I'm just leaving the story here only because it is a bit lengthier. It cannot be concluded in one video. So very soon we will meet with another part of the same. Till then, take care and bye bye.